Hey guys, it's Alex Base here. Today I've got the OnePlus Nord CE5 and we did a basic intro a couple of days ago, and today we're gonna go through all of the details that really matter. So let's not waste any time and kick it off. We all know by now that the back is made of plastic and it is a smudge magnet. The frame is also plastic, but it makes for a lighter weight of 199 grams. We've got an IP65 rating for water and dust resistance here, and also on the front we've got an unspecified glass protection, but there is a pre-applied screen protector, which is a welcome thing. The screen is a gorgeous 120Hz super fluid AMOLED. It's a 6.77 inch screen and it's got 1 billion colors, and also you do get HDR10 plus support here, which is great. The resolution is still full HD. The screen is decently bright outside and legible, and also you do get very nice colors. It's also flat, so the reflection is less than on a curved display, so that helps too. The refresh rate goes up to 120Hz but does not dial down to 60Hz when you're not interacting with the screen. You do get 4 color modes, 2 of them are hidden into the Pro modes in the settings. You can also adjust the color temperature manually. The OnePlus Nord CE5 display is certified with HDR10 Plus support in Amazon Prime, and also has got HDR10 support in YouTube videos, and of course in relevant content. There is no Dolby Vision support here, and nor was it expected. The HDR performance on this screen is actually pretty good. It's actually excellent for this class. And no matter what you watch, movies or TV shows or sports or animation, you won't be disappointed with the colors, the contrast, or the high dynamic range for sure. The picture is pretty sharp and pretty clean. And in stark contrast to the display, the sound has been downgraded compared to the Nord CE4. Now we do get a mono speaker instead of stereo speaker setup.
A mono speaker? Really, OnePlus? Oh, seriously, what?
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off about that. You can change the listening scenarios to 4 options, but still it's a mono speaker and the quality is pretty poor. I'm not gonna waste time in actually listening to it. There's a couple of options if you use headphones or earbuds, and that's the silver lining here. The Nord CE5 supports all the major Bluetooth codecs for high resolution audio, and that's great. That is very, very rare at this price point. The earbuds and the headphones of course have to be equipped with those codecs. But still, there should have been stereo speakers here.
No. Damn it!
Yeah, I probably won't get over it anytime soon. Now let's move on to the software.
In terms of software, it's got the awesome Oxygen OS on top of Android 15.
Oxygen OS is as smooth as ever, and you get 4 years of software updates and 6 years of security patches, which is fantastic for this budget class. The phone also gets 72-month Fluency A rating for TÜV Süd. That means after 6 years it will be as smooth as on day 1. And it's not just the smoothness, but also the functionality of Oxygen OS. If I don't like that search bar, I can get rid of it and make more space for more icons on the front, and not many software skins allow you to do that. You also get some customization and an always-on display. In Britain we only get the 8GB of RAM version, but in some markets you get 12GB of RAM. You can also expand it virtually by 8GB from the storage. There is NFC on board, also 2 SIM cards, but no eSIM support. And of course my favorite Zen app to chill out. You do get the regular AI tools in the Google Photos app, and also you do get Ultra HDR. Another AI tool that's available is Gemini, which is great. Women's Euros 2025.
England will face the Sweden
One cool feature that OnePlus have added is the AI search option, and you can type it in or use one of the options here or just say it out loud with the microphone. I used one of the options and that led me to the settings, and that afterwards made me click on it and find exactly what I was looking for. Like everything else, it's not faultless, but it still works most of the time.
The OnePlus Nord CE5 is quite powerful for this class. It's got the Dimensity 8350 Apex.
And it is based on a modern, efficient 4nm process.
Oh, and by the way, if you can let me know what Apex actually stands for. In this case, it's just a gimmick. I cannot really answer it.
It's pretty much the standard Dimensity 8350. From the battery settings, you can change it from a balanced regular mode to high performance mode to maximize the actual performance of the phone. In Geekbench 6, the Nord CE5 shows very strong scores, and it is one of the most powerful phones under 300 pounds right now. And that is fantastic. One thing that is not so fantastic is the stability. When you put it under stress and prolonged load, it throttles, as you can see. But then again, I'll take that over the 8S Gen 4, which completely throttles and cannot complete the tests. We're going to discuss that one again with the Nothing Phone 3, so stay tuned. The GPU here is Mali G615 MC6, is very powerful for this budget class. However, as you can imagine, I couldn't get any of the games go above 61, 62 frames per second, even if the Android counter actually was showing 120 Hz at a time. On PUBG, I even got 39, 40 frames per second when it was showing at 60 with the counter.
In terms of battery life, it's got a relatively normal 5200 mAh battery. Relatively normal for nowadays, of course. It's been downgraded from 5500 from last year's Nord CE4 though.
But I've got great news for my Indian viewers. You do get a much bigger 7100 mAh battery, although the charge remains the same as for the rest of the world at 80 watts, downgraded from 100 watts, which is nothing but a cost-cutting measure by OnePlus. Also, another great news for my Indian viewers is that you do get a charger in the box, unlike us in Europe. Charging the phone from empty to 100% in 30 minutes, I got 57%, which was a respectable result, and a full charge took 59 minutes, another respectable result as well. I did that test with an original OnePlus SuperVOOC 80-watt charger. Okay, all of that doesn't sound that bad, but how about the battery life? 1 hour of phone calls took the battery down by 3%, which is okay. 1 hour of web browsing took the battery down by 4%, which is also okay. And 1 hour of videos was down by 5%, another respectable result. Well, we know that is pretty good battery life. Now let's wrap it up with the cameras.
Also, let's have a look at the cameras. It's a pretty standard setup, really, nothing special.
We do get a dual camera on the back with a 50 megapixel Sony Litia 600 main sensor with face detection, autofocus and optical image stabilization, and an ultra-wide 8 megapixel OmniVision OVO-AD10 with fixed focus. On the front we've got a 16 megapixel Sony IMX 480. The selfies are decent and they're pretty good for this budget class, but nothing to write home about. The skin tones are natural enough at least, and there is not a lot of detail in the subject. However, the colors are still good and the dynamic range is wide-ish. There is some over sharpening and the separation of the subject in portrait mode is also a bit over processed, but all we know, they are decent shots for this class. The shots from the main camera are overall decent, the level of detail is good, however there's also a lot of noise in them, but that is to be expected. Some over sharpening here and there, and also the contrast isn't great, but still these are overall not bad shots, one of the better ones in this class. The ultra-wide shots from that much maligned 8 megapixel sensor are just as you would expect. The detail is not very good and the dynamic range is also not that good. However, the colors are good. And that's pretty much it. It can give you some usable shots during the day, but it's best to really avoid it. The 2x shots digitally cropped from the main camera, of course there's no telephoto here, are surprisingly clean. There is some noise in them, but overall the quality of them is pretty good. They are very usable during the day. The night selfies are not that bad. The detail is okay, the colors are good, and also my perfectly shaped potato head is very well presented. Even if those night selfies are nothing special, I still expected worse than this, so I'm fine with the results here. The shots from the main camera are solid, the detail is good. The contrast and colors are okay, the darker areas are well presented, and the highlights are contained in a respectable manner. Again, there is some softness and noise, but it's nothing serious, so I do like these shots overall for this class. The ultra-wide shots, as expected, of course, they are not good overall, but in well-lit areas you can get usable results. The colors are still okay. Of course, they'll be very noisy and soft and blurry at times, but if it is a very well lit area, I think they can give you some usable shots. Again, just like during the day, it's best to avoid it and just use the main camera. The 2x digital zoom shots at night are just like during the day, they are very usable. They're a little bit softer, of course, than the main one, but still, I would think they are still quite usable at night, just like during the day. Surprisingly decent. The video stabilization at 4K 60 frames per second from the main camera is a bit shaky. It's not that good. However, when you tone it down to 30 frames per second, it's much more steady and usable. The ultra wide, well, it's capped at 1080p 30 frames per second, and it is doing a decent job in that regard, but that's pretty much it. The video from that ultra wide lens is, again, just like the photos, it lacks detail and it is not very desirable, quite soft, but at least the colors look good. The 4K video from the main camera is actually good, and there's very little noise if there's any. The colors look great, the contrast is also very good. The dynamic range is not perfect, it could use some work, but it's still not bad. The 2x zoom video is also not bad at all. I've been blabbing enough about those cameras, let's just leave you now in peace so you can judge it for yourselves. In camera 4K 60 frames per second. Switch with things with the 2x zoom, 4K at 60 frames per second. Selfie video is limited to 1080p 60 frames per second. Ultra wide 1080p 30 frames per second. Main camera 4K 30 frames per second. Okay, 30 frames per second, 2x zoom.
Well, there you have it, folks, the OnePlus Nord CE5. Overall, not a bad offering at all. It's got a great screen, it's got a great battery life, and performance is towards the top of the charts in this budget class. Too bad about the mono speaker. It drives me nuts, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Overall, as I said, not a bad offering. Is it good enough for you? Well, at the end of the day, you decide. Thanks very much for watching and see you next time. Ciao!